Every year at the IIT East Summit, they take up a social cause and run a campaign. And this year's discussion is on the 377 ruling. Doodles were collected from across the country, which have been put up in the SOM foyer. And now, as you all are eagerly waiting for our two very special guests, let me introduce them. Our first guest today is Mr. Harish Iyer, Creative Director at Madison Outdoor Media Solutions. Harish is an equal rights activist from India promoting the cause of various social, environmental issues. Named one of the most influential gay men in the world by The Guardian in 2013, Harish is both an openly homosexual man and a child sex abuse survivor, and is the only homosexual male survivor in India who decided to speak up about his abuse. I had the good fortune of working with him for the first few months of my career. Welcome, Harish.
And ladies and gentlemen, the second speaker for the day does not actually require any introduction, but I have my duties to do. She is a Bollywood star, a model, and a former Femina Miss India Universe. She works very supportingly for the rights and equality of the LGBT community and supports the gay rights movement in India. She has been involved in various activities concerning human rights, women and children health, and sex workers rehabilitation in India for the past 10 years. She is a vociferous proponent of the abolition of Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalized homosexuality. She has appeared several times on national TV channels debating people who oppose abolition of Section 377. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Miss Selina Jetli. Check.
This does feel like coffee with Karan.
Without the coffee.
Oh yeah. So we have Harish Iyer here, who is a prominent gay rights activist, and Selina Jetli, a UN spokesperson for Free and Equal, speaking for LGBT rights. So how shall we start it?
I think before we start anything, I think you need to speak about the initiative of IIT Bombay, Saathi, which you have founded. Can we hear it for Nivedan?
All right. So Saathi has been operational at IIT Bombay for around 2.5 years. It was founded in June 2011. The aim of Saathi is threefold: to act as a support structure for the LGBT residents of IIT, to conduct awareness and sensitization events for the campus community, and to push for policy changes in the institute to make the institute more LGBT inclusive. We have been doing pretty great so far. Very recently, 3 days back, we had a panel discussion and a movie screening as a part of Mumbai Pride, and yesterday we had the Pride March again, in which a large group from Saathi participated, and we've been getting amazing support from the institute for that. And very recently ESL also took up the initiative of IOTA 377, and I think things are going right at IIT Bombay. Yep. So initially I want to motivate the discussion a little bit about Harish. What do you think has been the impact of the recent Supreme Court decision for gay rights activists in special? I mean, do you think on one hand it's a huge setback on the legal front? On the other hand, do you think because the Supreme Court made such a stupid decision, there has been so much discussion and a lot of support? I mean, it has got our ministers out of the closet, coming out openly in support. So do you think it's a good thing in the long run?
I think LGBT rights in India per se was, I mean, people were getting quite this thing कि हाँ हमारा right है. After the Delhi High Court, we thought that okay, chalo, now we are, now our sex has been decriminalized and it's a, you know, it's a rosy path ahead. And at times, and that time also, we had a lot of cases of extortion and other things, though the cases were less. But there were definitely cases of extortion and abuse that were there even that time. I think the Supreme Court judgment, I mean, there were many people who were not speaking about the issue. After this, I think that the Supreme Court, because of this draconian law coming back to the law books, this, not only the general public, you had, as you rightly said, you had the netas coming out of the closet. I mean, no one would have imagined Sonia Gandhi coming out and saying, speaking the word gay, forget gay rights. You know, so you had, and Meenakshi Lekhi and all the other parliamentarians who are speaking against us also. I've never heard them speak the word gay, you know, forget speaking about our rights or speaking against it. So I think in a way it has created that stir. And the second thing it has done is there is heightened awareness of the fact that it's not only homosexuality has not been made illegal. Homosexual behavior, anything that is not peno-vaginal in nature, is illegal, okay, which has been criminalized, which means even heterosexuals fall in the same ambit. I mean, if you're not having peno-vaginal sex with the intent of procreation, that could be considered unnatural.
So the bigger idea is that the state is telling us how we may and may not have sex in our own privacy. And
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
the problem.
I think in the other side of the lighter, in a lighter vein, I would say that probably we are doing it very well, that they want to peep in.
Yeah. Selina, could you talk a little bit about your involvement with LGBT rights in India and your role as a UN spokesperson?
Well, UN spokesperson, becoming a UN spokesperson has given me a platform which probably makes people stand up and take notice of the cause which needs severe attention right now in our country. Because unfortunately, whereas the LGBT is concerned and 377 is concerned, it's become like our legalities have become like a badminton game, you know. One day legal, the other day not legal, and you can't play badminton with people's lives, with people's sensibilities, with how they live, how they breathe, what they do in their private time, what do consenting adults do. You can't keep playing badminton with their rights with this kabhi haan, kabhi na, you know, as simple as that. My involvement with gay rights dates back to probably back to the 90s, and in my struggling days when I was a model and hardly used to have any money. And there was this transgender gay makeup artist in Calcutta, and he practically became like a surrogate mother to me. And he's the one who taught me, he groomed me for the industry. He taught me how to conduct myself, carry myself when I was always out of money. Never had enough money to pay for my paying guests. He would even lend me money, pick me up from shoots, drop me to shoots. So there was this person on one side who was like a mother. On the other hand, my first relationship was with a man who was closeted, and he was a closet gay, very violent, because he was forced to be with me because of societal pressure. And when I came out of that relationship, which was very devastating with this closeted man, I just thought that no one should go through this, neither him nor the person at the receiving end as well. And when this makeup artist would sit sometimes and tell me that Selina Amar ki hobe, in Bengali he used to tell me, okay, now I'm old. I've never had the opportunity to have love in my life, to have something strong in my life to hold on to. My parents have passed away. Whom will I grow old with? You know, I'm not educated like any one of you. I have only one thing, my talent is makeup. But where will my family come from? Where will I have someone to hold my hand if I'm sick and dying in the hospital when I'm old? I'm a gay man, I can't even say it. When I pass down the streets of my mohalla, people make fun of me, you know. And seeing these things, because I started in this industry at a very young age, it truly deeply affected me on various levels. And there came a time when I had the opportunity, the wonderful opportunity to become strongly involved in this. And I believe if in whatever way, I don't know if I'm motivating people the right way, but conversations, everything begins with a thought, everything begins with an idea, and everything begins with a conversation. We have to start a conversation, no matter how uncomfortable it makes us feel. Because without that, there's going to be no awareness. How many people sitting here amongst all of you use the word, oh, he's gay, he's a faggot, she's a lesbo, you know? Without thinking, we use these words in our gem, but do you even know what gay is? I would actually, instead of giving you a long speech, which I prepared, and half of you are going to run away if I start with, with this here, I would actually like to encourage people sitting here in the audience, ask us questions. Please ask us questions. Ask us about LGBT. Any questions, don't feel shy. And we are not going to persecute you or slap 377 on you for inquiring using sexual language. But please ask us, talk to us, ask us, what do you think? What is LGBT to you? I would like to ask you. Somebody get up and tell me, what is your definition of a gay man?
This is something by choice. It's not by choice, it's by acceptance. It is more about you accept that you are one. It's not that everybody feels it's a choice. It's not a choice to the person. That is what my definition of understanding about gay and the whole rights is all about.
Absolutely. I think I would encourage Harish to talk about it.
I mean, that's one of the biggest myths, you know, ki I respect your choice. I said, then I just replied to the person saying, I respect your choice too, you're heterosexual. You know, so when did heterosexuals decide that they were heterosexual? I mean, did you wake up one day and suddenly say, chalo, ini mini maina mo, homo, hetero, bi, homo, hetero, acha chalo, hetero. And even if given a choice, if I have to choose, why will I choose a life where I have to come and stand in front of an audience and prove myself every time? A life of discrimination. No one would choose. I mean, I know we look quite sexy and you associate fashion industry and so many things with, but there are gay people who are lawyers, there are gay people who are in non-sexy businesses as well. So, so no one chooses a life of discrimination if given a choice.
Any more questions?
So yeah, let's keep the questions coming. Please just raise your hands anytime. Can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, my name is Deepak, and a couple of years back I used to crack a lot of jokes also regarding gay people and all, you know, like normal table talks. So after that I got married, and I realized my wife has a lot of gay friends, and I used to ask her, you know, like it's strange, you know. So she's like, no, because she feels very safe, you know, when gay people are around. Like otherwise you go to a club and it's like everybody is sitting on the girl, and so it's more safer. And so that's how through her I got to meet more friends, and I realized probably, you know, it's like they're more fun sometimes just to talk to, and it's a different conversation altogether. And then after a couple of years I went to the US also, and there's this, I went to this erotic art museum in Miami. And I was shocked to see a lot of murtis and all which are excavated from India and Indonesia, where gods are promoting gayism, like they are proper murti card, like, you know, it's all this stuff. So I was like, you know, it's not there now, it's been for a really long time. So I think my mindset shifted, and I'm okay with that. And my question is, are LGBT parties legal? Because sometimes the cops, you know, it's like go and then.
Well, I would like to answer. That's exactly what is the problem with 377. Every person has the right to assemble in a place. We can have a gathering if we want to, as long as there's no drugs or violence involved, right? Anyone can get together. But just for the fact that a couple of gay people are getting together to have a good time, people are using the excuse of 377 to humiliate them, to traumatize them, to blackmail them, to harass them, like raiding the parties and saying, why? Why can't they, when all of us can have parties, we can have get-togethers, we can have shows, we can go completely crazy. Why can't anyone have the right in this biggest democracy of the world to assemble together to have a good time?
So it's legal. It's just that they use.
I would say that you require permissions for any party. You require permissions for, you require the liquor license, the other things for any party. For LGBT parties, it's no different. But, of course, if you're having sex, okay, if there's any kind of sex involved, then that's illegal. Okay, but what people do, what Selina was trying to say is, what people do is they use this as a pretext. And they find some loophole कि चलो रेड करते हैं, पता करते हैं, और फिर पुलिस लेके जाएगी तो बोलेंगे नहीं तुम्हारे घर पे बता देंगे. You know, so that way there is a harassment. There is, the Bombay police has been quite adequately sensitized now. Okay, but there have been cases in Bombay as well that were reported. Whereas homosexuality, as I said, lesbianism is not illegal. Okay, even if it's illegal, I can't turn straight. Okay, so that is not illegal. What's illegal is the kind of sex which is against the order of nature. Order of nature kya hai? I feel that people have sex for procreation and for recreation also. You don't think of having sex thinking ki chalo, let me have sex and have babies. You know, so what is in the order of nature is ill-defined, and the Supreme Court also doesn't feel it's important to define it. So that's where it stands. So having sex is illegal, and having sex even for heterosexuals inside a party is illegal, for that matter.
Good afternoon, sir. Good morning. My name is Samarth, and I'm a student from Symbiosis. First of all, I would like to share a story with you. I had this friend, and he was gay, he was open gay. But I know the trauma that he went through in society. But, he had this one inspiration, and that was you. And I would, ask everyone to, give a round of applause for about you, how you have been a motivation for women, how we could speak of seeing you. So do this.
I'm sorry taking decisions because I am the one who is supported to this Supreme Court judgment. I am a lawyer also, I have studied the legal law. I am a biology, studied in that way, especially all reproduction cycles. With the nature and the Indian culture, society, the basic fundamental, there is a major psychic disorder because of the stigmatization, cultural network. So we have to, as a family, entire Indian nation should be, I'm not against this, but we have to cure this disease.
Now it's getting interesting. Selina?
Very interesting. See, this is exactly what we are encouraging. The conversations may not always be what you want to hear, but this is the truth. This is what people think. This is what laws, I'll start with the fact that laws are meant to protect people, not provide platforms, not provide platforms to people who come forward, the Dhongi Babas and the yogis of our great country, to come forward and say, homosexuality एक disease है, मैं Ayurveda से cure कर दूंगा. Laws are meant to protect us. Laws are not meant to provide platform to people to harass and humiliate and blackmail. This gentleman here, okay, he's an educated man, but he's misinformed. He is misinformed because religion, I respect the sanctity of religion and culture and tradition. But by God, I do not accept the fact, that violence or discrimination be allowed to be a part
of any religion or any culture in this world. I don't think any religion says that discrimination is our part or violence is our part. And what culture are we talking about? Culture is not monolithic. Culture is evolving. The same culture that we talk about today, आपने जिस culture की अभी बात की, यही culture कहता था कि सती प्रथा is people like you. In that time, educated people like you believed in sati. Okay? Correct? People believed in shaving a widow's head off, sending her to an ashram. People still believe in female infanticide. People believe in these things. These also come from our culture. So culture, my friend, is not always right. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Yes. I understand science is linked with the culture. But like science, in science, okay, let's say you're a man from a scientific background, I respect that. But my friend, science said once the earth was flat. Science also said that once, didn't it? Science is evolving, culture should evolve, our minds should evolve, and that's why today the youth of India sits here and brings this topic up and has these conversations to say, yes, I want to evolve, I want to understand. Because every human being should have their basic dignity. Two consenting adults should have the right to choose whom they want to love and how they want to love. We are talking about our culture. 377 was given by it's a British colonial law. If you open Kama Sutra, which comes from the culture, my God, all our ancient ancestors would be behind the bars under 377. If we just go by Kama Sutra, So we have to evolve, we have to grow. I don't say change your mindset right now, my friend. Don't change it. Don't change your belief. But keep your mind open. Do not discriminate because one Baba stands up and says this, because you believe right now that the earth is flat. Earth is not flat, it's round. We believe there are so many planets in the solar system. Maybe that's not true, maybe there are more. We believe we are in an elliptical galaxy, maybe we are not. Even science contradicts itself continuously,
And I would like Harish to talk a little bit about what he mentioned as a disease. I think science has already evolved there, right? Pretty much.
Yeah. The Psychiatric Association, the American Psychiatric Association, has delisted it from the list of diseases. There are a lot of Indian bodies. I would request you to go to aurinam.net. You'll find a lot of Indian bodies, Indian psychiatric and psychological associations also delisting homosexuality from the list of diseases. Speaking about family, you spoke about family and other things. I think Selina's whole family and Selina herself is always surrounded by gay people. Have you turned lesbian?
I just had twins last year with my husband Peter. And believe me, I think I won't say further. I don't think if you would ask the same question to my husband, he would agree. But
so basically, sexuality is not something that you see and you imbibe. And if that was the case, my parents are heterosexual. Everyone around me, my बाजू वाली auntie is heterosexual. मेरे घर में काम करने वाली is heterosexual. मेरे बाजू वाले, so it's so easy for me to get influenced by heterosexuality and turn heterosexual. And yes, I will have a perfect family also. I'll have a wife and I can make babies also. So if we're speaking about science and speaking about the family system, I think many a times we are forced, homosexuals are forced to follow a heterosexual family system, and there are lives of women which gets endangered because of that. Because we get forced, there are many cases of gay people getting married, forcefully getting married to women, as Selina also said, and they would also, it's not that gay men suffer from erectile dysfunction or anything of that kind. We can also have babies, so we make babies also, and after making babies 4-5 years के बाद suddenly अंदर का gay जाग उठता है, and then you'll have divorce cases, you'll have all those things happening. So in effect, if you're supporting gay rights, you're also supporting the rights of women. You're also supporting minority rights. You're supporting a lot of other rights as well when you're supporting gay rights.
Hello, Selena. You are looking fabulous, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm Vivek. I don't have any question, but this is just a random thought. I thought that suppose there is a parallel universe, and there are all the men and women are gay or either lesbian, and the government of that has also 377 law, and you gentlemen are pushed to stay there, and you are hetero in that world. How would you feel?
Good one.
You should write a fantasy story about that.
There's actually a film.
Oh, there is? Oh, yeah.
Hello, with all due respect to this community, I am a big supporter as well. But there's a question I have. I read in an article once, 2-3 years back, there was a lady, she fell in love with a roller coaster in America. Okay, and she was literally fighting with the government because she wanted to marry that roller coaster. Now, obviously, when we all hear of it, it is something very unusual which is happening. Now, what my point is that now when the homosexuals, okay, they have been fighting for the last 50 years or something for their rights. Today, say we legalize them. Say 100, 200 years from now, our children, grandchildren, everyone, they start demanding that if those kind of rights were legalized then, why aren't rights of sex with inanimate objects legalized? So this is obviously a concern of worry, and we always say that, okay, the Supreme Court judges, they did not approve of these rights right now. But okay, when you think of it, they are pretty old and everything. So it's very unusual for them. Same way it's going to be unusual for us also. So do you think that the generations coming then, they'll be able to cope up with this?
I think
Oh,
one.
that's a
Yep. I think one critical difference between when you talk about homosexual relationship and when you talk about the girl's relationship with the roller coaster is that the roller coaster cannot give consent, right? I mean, the same is when you love a dog. You can't do anything to the dog without its consent. A dog cannot give consent. On the other hand, a human can. And that's, I mean, humans come under our constitution, under our law. Two humans protected under the Indian constitution can do
So
that.
good point, but here the roller coaster is not getting affected by it. It's just one girl's demand. He can fight for it. Okay, if the roller coaster is not agreeing to it, it's not even opposing to it, right?
Sure.
Just to of course adding to what Nivedan had said, when speaking about, I'm not going to speak about whether you should make sex with inanimate objects legal or illegal, but in reality, if you go to see, we have a huge sex toy market as well, okay, which probably is against Indian culture once again, because everything is against Indian culture. The only thing that is in Indian culture is making babies, having sex. Speaking about it is against Indian culture. Doing it is against Indian culture. But babies कैसे आबादी कैसे बढ़ जाती है पता नहीं. You know, it just happens. So because of the climate. No, I really appreciate that. In fact, if IIT, because this could become a good research topic for IIT by itself. I mean, how does climate affect make people have more sex?
It's just Hindi movies. Climate में ही सब कुछ होता है. You know, you have to understand, yeah.
प्यार
You're
का
sitting with an
मौसम.
actress. मौसम अच्छा होने से ही सब romance होता है. You know, it's as simple as that. You know, especially monsoon and you know chiffon saris and you know.
Guys, I'm very happy that we're having this conversation here because even heterosexual sex is considered as a taboo topic in India. But anyway, my question is, unfortunately, we are witnessing a lot of rape incidents happening over the last year. I don't know if you're having a lot of rape incidents or it's just that people are being outspoken about it. So when we hear of the term rape, we immediately think about what if our immediate family members or our female friends or sisters get affected by it. So obviously we empathize with women more. Now we see women more successful in their career, so it is okay if a woman is outspoken, she obviously has equal rights. So what I'm seeing here is that we empathize with women, but the same is not happening with this community. So how do we build empathy for this community? And as for the biologist and doctor, seriously, how are you the way you are?
How do you empathize with the community? Very good point there, you know. We at UN, Human Rights Commission, that's what the whole message with Free and Equal, the campaign that I'm supporting now, is that when we talk about human rights have to be equal for all, okay? The Vienna Declaration was all about states coming together and signing, irrespective of their cultural, historical systems, political systems, to give the guarantee that they will provide equal protection to everybody's basic human right. And that is why we are having this conversation today. If the same violation and discrimination was being done to a person from another group, like women today, the way they are being brutally tortured with rapes and brutal sexual assaults, when this happens to a community which is like women, for example, the state takes action, you stand up, take action, he stands up, take action, everybody is there to take action for it. But why should we seclude the LGBT community? Are they not human? Are they not someone's sons and daughters? You know, this morning I was watching a debate on NDTV where Sridhar was talking about this transgender person who was arrested in Bangalore, taken by the cops to the police station, raped by 7 policemen, and then he poured kerosene on himself and burnt himself alive. Now, isn't that the biggest violation of a human being, of a life that can be? And that is why we need to stand up for this, because LGBT are also human beings. They are bona fide citizens of this country. They are also taxpayers, I'm sure, and you all, if there are LGBT here, will grow up to be the future of India, will be bona fide tax-paying citizens of this country, doctors, lawyers, entertainers. We are all one. You know, you cannot have separate laws just because my sexual preference is a man or a woman. You cannot have separate laws for me. It's all about giving everyone equal rights.
Adding to what Selina said, I think one main thing that we need to do is, now you have a lot of stories coming out. You have people coming out and speaking. After, you know, surprisingly, we, Section 377, the Supreme Court verdict wanted to push us back into our closets. Suddenly I saw people coming and speaking, giving interviews for, in Times of India and all other newspapers. And the next day when I saw all these things, I called them up and I said, Sale, tu closet mein tha na, aise kaise bahar aa gaya? Nahi, nahi, abhi farak nahi padta. So I think more stories, you know, because to build an empathy, you require more people coming out and sharing stories, you know, whether it's about homosexual abuse, whether it's about hijra abuse, whether it's about transgender abuse, whether it's lesbians. You think we are very normal? I'm telling you, we are also abnormal. We also have all the negative things that what heterosexuals do. We are as human and as inhuman as heterosexuals are. We are not this different species. So it's important that our lives are represented and we keep speaking about these issues, you know. And yes, you will face opposition. This lady who is sitting next to me, she comes on TV and she speaks about these rights. She comes in the newspaper and speaks about these rights. But you should actually live a day in the life of Selina and see the kind of opposition, kind of morchas and kind of name calling that she faces on a daily life. But she braves it all and she stands up for the cause. You know, so standing up, the path to equal rights is never going to be easy. But rest assured, if you're standing and if you're in the right path, you will meet success at some point.
So we'll have our final question now, and then we're going to conclude this session. Yeah, there.
Good morning, friends. My name is Palak. We talked about Dwarka Mausam. We talked about Dwarka Mausam, but the current Mausam is of election, and it's how to politicize the situation. But it's very evident that Congress party has been supporting LGBT community and BJP party is opposing the LGBT community, and we are seeing a strong anti-incumbency against Congress. So I want to know about where you are leading the LGBT community, considering that BJP will come to the power. So where are you heading towards to?
We didn't want to politicize this. Politicize this movement, but the Supreme Court wants us to. Okay, because now what has happened is the Supreme Court has rejected the review petition also. हम लोग ने बोला कि चलो आपसे पहली बार गलती हो गई तो चलो review कर दो और ठीक कर दो. But they have even cancelled the review petition. They have said that it's not important to listen to your review petition. Then we have another option of a curative petition. If there has been an error in the law, then you can apply for a curative petition. Means you can cure the judgment that you've made, that you've given. So even that is not there. So the ball, kood ke ball has gone to the Parliament's court now. So now if we have to stand up, if we have to look for any kind of change, we need to look for change from the parliamentary bodies, this thing. I do understand that your concerns are very valid. You might have BJP standing up for 10 different other things, which they are good at, but they are standing against LGBT rights. And Congress has not stood up for 10 other things, but they are standing up for LGBT rights. So now how do we pave a way to the, and decide kisko vote karne ka, kisko nahi vote karne ka. One thing is for sure, that irrespective of anything else, okay, when you are supporting Section 377, you are standing up against the basic tenets of human rights. So if you're standing up against, I might have the best road possible, I might have the best infrastructure, but I'm not going to enjoy the road and the infrastructure from the confines of a jail. So I might as well be free than have a beautiful road and the best infrastructure. And I'm not going to say that Congress is the best party, wo nahi to ye sahi. I think that if nothing like this works, probably there would be a stage where LGBT people would have to get into politics, and I would get into politics if need be.
Thank you all for your questions. Thank you, Selena. Thank you, Harish. We have a video now from the UN. So
we have this video which UN Human Rights Commission made for LGBT people around the world. Do watch it, and hope we can end this with the hope that yes, with all of us, the youth together, we can make a difference. For a society to be truly progressive, we need to embrace everyone as one. So let's all come together for this. And thank you for starting this wonderful initiative. I want to thank all the people here, IIT, for taking this forward. It really is a very, very big step in a good direction. Thank you, all of you.
thank you.
It's the 10th of December 1948, and the UN General Assembly adopts the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It states that all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. Yet fast forward to 2011, and the UN Human Rights Council expresses grave concern at acts of violence and discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. All over the world, lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender or LGBT people are still being subjected to discrimination and acts of brutal violence, torture, kidnapping, even murder. In 76 countries, same-sex relationships are criminalized in violation of basic rights. These abuses must end. The tide is turning. Since 1990, almost 40 countries have legalized same-sex relationships. Many more have lawfully banned discrimination against LGBT people. More and more countries now recognize the urgency and are pressing for action at the UN. In the past 4 years, this has led to the first adopted UN resolution on the issue, the first official UN report, and the first formal intergovernmental debate at the UN Human Rights Council. On the 26th of July 2013, the UN launched Free and Equal, a global campaign designed to raise awareness of homophobic and transphobic violence and discrimination, and to help stop millions of LGBT people being abused for being who they are. We must protect the basic human rights of LGBT people. But it doesn't just require changes in laws and policies. It takes changes in people's hearts and minds. Like the struggle against racism, like the struggle for gender equality, the struggle for LGBT equality will only be won if we join together, if we speak out, if we stand in the defense of the rights of others. The time to do this is now. Together we can stop violence and discrimination against LGBT people. Together we can build a world that is free and equal.